And welcome to another edition of Judgment Day, where we cast judgment.
Right in.
Yeah, we are. Oh, yeah. Sorry if I scared you. We are back.
I was terrified. All right,
we're ready. The jury is back in session for another Am I the Asshole? And here is the situation today. Oh, by the way, I'm joined with Logan and Raina. Hi, guys.
Oh, hey.
Hello. Feel free to jump in if you have any questions, comments, concerns, jokes, whatever you need. Here we go. Am I the asshole for humiliating one of the athletes I coach?
Oh, no.
Oh.
I'm going to come out and say yes immediately.
Oh, my middle school heart is just so fast.
You guys, I think you guys are both picturing like a 5-year-old like girl who's like, tee-hee, I kicked the soccer ball in the other net.
I'm imagining my high school self having a bad soccer game and having my coach being like, do you know what you did wrong? And being like, yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, let's read. We've stated the thesis, and both of you reacted very negatively. So let's see if that changes. We need a name for Mr. Coach. We'll call him Mr. Coach. I mean, I'm assuming he's a Mr. He could be a Mrs. or a they, but we're gonna go with Mr. Coach. Mr. Coach is a teacher and a youth soccer coach for the local high school. Mr. Coach played as a goalkeeper for the college team, but never made it too far in the soccer world. These days, Mr. Coach just wants to inspire young kids to pursue the sport of soccer. One of the best players on Mr. Coach's team is a 14-year-old kid named Todd, who's 6'2", extremely strong, and has scored over 10 goals this season. And we've only played 4 games so far.
Wow. Todd.
Yeah.
Whoa. 10 goals in 4 games. I mean, woo. Because of this, and the fact that Todd's quite a bit more developed than his peers, Todd's developed a huge ego. Well, we kind of saw that coming, I think. Can you imagine someone being so humble? Like, no, guys, I didn't do anything. I just kicked the balls. Like,
don't worry about it.
That wasn't going to happen.
Come on, Todd.
Listen, I went to an all-boys school, and you best believe ego was like chicken sandwiches. It was everywhere. It was cheap. It was just not, I guess maybe yummy. I don't know. Anywho. So Mr. Coach.
Chicken sandwiches were at your school.
Oh my God. The chicken sandwiches at St. Ignatius everyone loved them. I was a vegetarian back then for the most part, so I really didn't have them, but it was like Chicken Wednesday. I think it was Chicken Sandwich Wednesday. And everyone would like bum rush the cafeteria. And it was like, you know how in those like movies with like the marketplaces where it's like, chicken sandwich for $10 for $5, like that kind of like craziness. So
we had gross pizza on Fridays. I wish I had chicken sandwich.
Oh my God, the cardboard pizza from middle school,
and not even like the good kind that you're like, oh heck yeah, but like just completely terrible.
I love it. All right, so where were we? Okay, so Mr. Coach is teaching. Todd has an ego. Todd's great, but has an ego. Mr. Coach has spoken to Todd several times about how Todd needs to be respectful of the teammates, but Todd seems to brush it off. Last week during training, Todd was able to outmaneuver our team's goalkeeper, scored a goal in a disrespectful manner. After he got past the keeper, he did a ballerina twirl before kicking the ball into the net, and then called the goalkeeper a loser. Oof. First of all, Logan is laughing. Logan's like, mwah!
Oh, I might be Team Todd now. That's awesome.
I mean, the ballerina twirl, fine, little cheeky, but calling him a loser, that's definitely overstepping. Instead of berating him, Mr. Coach decided to teach Todd a lesson. Mr. Coach told Todd that since he's doing so well, he should practice doing penalty kicks with Mr. Coach. And Mr. Coach told the rest of the team that they should watch and learn a thing or two from Todd. Mr. Coach is nowhere near a professional goalkeeper, but I still competed at a pretty high level. I was able to stop every single one of Todd's shots. After about 15 penalty kicks, with none of them going in, Todd's nerves and frustration started getting to him, and his next shot started missing the net completely. Mr. Coach stopped the session soon afterwards and walked up to Todd and said, "By your definition, I guess that makes you a loser, huh? Like I said before, you need to be respectful and not have such a huge ego." Todd was holding back tears and stormed out of the training session. Later, Mr. Coach got complaints from Todd's parents, as well as the school administration, that I humiliated him and that my demonstration crushed his confidence. This became apparent in the next game we played, where he performed quite poorly. Personally, I think I taught him a valuable lesson in that it's important to always be respectful. as there's always bigger fish in the sea. So that is the scenario. So is Mr. Coach the asshole?
There's a lot of layers to this, actually.
Oh, yeah.
This is actually a pretty complex one.
Okay, Raina, break it down like the onion in the Shrek movie. Give us those layers.
Well, you've got a teenager who, is a bit of a show-off.
Mm-hmm.
That's normal. That is not the nicest thing you want a teenager to do, but it is to be expected from an all-star, for the team's all-star.
Mm-hmm.
Is it inappropriate for him to taunt the other team? Absolutely. But then you've got a coach that feels it's their responsibility to kind of get in a child's head. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a little bit of mental gameplay going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where it starts missing the mark a little bit. Just because, you want to prove a point. You want to show respect, you want to show the other students, the other athletes that that's not acceptable. But I definitely expected what happened. He choked at the next game.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it makes you wonder it makes me wonder how far should a coach be going? Just in general, like how far should a coach be coaching? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's like that kind of feedback from the coach, I don't think is even really coaching. Like, it's more life lesson-y, and I don't think all the time that's that coach's job. I get that, like, a coach is there to be a mentor and to help with more things than just that sport, but maybe not in that kind of way. Like, I feel like that's a very distinct way to teach someone younger.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's not the way that the parents would like, which is understandable because it is very harsh.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be curious to know what the other students said, the other athletes.
Mm-hmm. Whether they're like, Todd deserved it, or if they were like, no, this kind of stuff is acceptable.
I personally didn't have a problem with the coach like being like, okay, we'll do penalty kicks and I'll be the goalkeeper, and kind of stomping on him a little bit there.
But calling him a loser?
Well, here's the thing. It was like that sassy brunch girl thing where it's like, well, by your definition, I guess that makes you a loser, huh?
Yeah.
And like, that was not constructive. Like, I think that could have been implied without even saying that, this idea of like, he's 14, he can make that kind of critical jump. I think that his comment could have just been like, I don't know. I don't know what the comment should have been, but like maybe just having the demonstration.
Pull him aside and just be like, hey, maybe don't call people losers. Like,
but I guess that's what he's kind of been doing, and it's not been working. So I guess this like public stoning felt like, I don't know. I guess it's what he was thinking was like, well, I've been talking to him about his ego. I've been talking to him about these issues, but now I have to like, do a Handmaid's Tale and, these soccer balls in his face and whatever. So
he's only a freshman.
Yeah.
Is he a freshman?
He's 14.
14. Yeah. I mean, high school.
Yeah. I also don't agree with letting people who think that they're their star continue to go through that and think that they're all that in a bag of chips and no punishment is ever going to come to them because they're scoring 10 goals in 4 games.
Yeah, and that's so toxic. Look at Steubenville. You had this whole town that was just like high school football is God, and they let the high school football team get away with everything. I mean, you even had all those players connected to a rape charge, and people were like, oh, it wasn't them. It can't be our football team because they scored 50 points last week. They're not guilty of anything. So you build these young, 14, 15, 16, 17, you build their egos, because teenage boys, I was a teenage boy. You better believe I had my ego, not on the soccer field. God forbid I would have been kicked out of there. But, you have to find ways to help mold these young kids and girls alike, just molding young kids to be better people, to, remove that ego, to think of themselves as part of something and not just look at me. I'm the 14-year-old kid who scored 10 goals in 4 games. So Well, do we have
Well,
judgments on Mr. Tom?
Real
Mr.
quick, I have another comment.
yeah,
As
please.
not a teenage boy, but as a previous soccer player,
Ooh.
we're getting all the opinions in. Because I had coaches who, were sometimes rough, sometimes helpful, like really led you. And I don't think that kind of punishment is always great.
Yeah.
Again, Todd definitely need to be knocked down a few pegs, but I don't know.
I know. I feel this is a pretty tough one. But should we cast a judgment anyway? Can we do it? Can we do it?
Who wants to go first? Because I don't.
I'll go first. I'm going to say light asshole on this one. I think I understand where the coach is coming from. I get maybe in the moment that he was like, oh, I'm about to goalkeep and I'm about to show Todd that he is not all that in the bag of chips. But there was something about that follow-up and even the motive of like that public embarrassment, like the motive wasn't exactly constructive. It was destructive. So with that being in mind, there's something there that makes me, I get it. I get parts of it, but I have to go that Mr. Coach is kind of a slight asshole. Just take this as a lesson, Mr. Coach. You sound like you have a good heart of gold. You want people to, you want Americans to love soccer. I'm assuming you're American, and I get it. It's rough out here, but keep doing what you're doing and learn from this. So, Raina, are you ready to cast a judgment?
You're going to be surprised about this one. I'm going to say everyone sucks here.
Fair.
Because, the coach was overcoaching, was overzealous, intentions fair, I would say. Not good, not bad, we're fair. The kid is a 14. Sucks. I mean, but
everyone sucks at 14.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I was that way at 14 too.
Mm-hmm.
The parents, I would say they kind of suck because they're jumping down the throat of a coach who had good intentions, was trying to get his team going, get his star athlete kind of refocused. Granted, it ended up messing up his mind, making him lose focus game.
Yeah.
And the school district, well, we know how school districts are with athletes, so I just say they suck in general. Like
the school district's like, listen, he's failing all his classes, but the soccer team has never looked better.
Exactly.
All right, Logan, you got the time you needed. Did you get a judgment?
Yeah, I think I just gotta go. You're the asshole. I think Mr. Coach is the asshole. I appreciate the effort of trying to knock him down a few pegs because definitely need it. Young has many years of high school soccer to play, needs to learn how to be compassionate and to be an actual leader instead of just, steamrolling. He's 14, he doesn't need his coach to call him a loser in front of all of his teammates and to embarrass him like that. I don't think that that's the right way to go, but maybe there is some other, I don't know. I don't know what the alternative would be, but there's gotta be something.
I will say him being 14 is kind of what kept me away from saying he outright sucks too, because that's just what teenage boys do.
It's like, obviously he sucks, but
well, the thread on Reddit, the M of the SL thread, they voted Mr. Coach asshole. They went asshole. And are you ready though for an update that actually might change your opinion?
Okay.
After reading this comment, Mr. Coach had a long chat with Todd. Mr. Coach apologized for being too harsh with him, but also talked about how Todd needs to be respectful of his teammates and not have such an ego while playing again. We agreed, Mr. Coach and Todd agreed that Todd would sit on the bench next game so that he can get a new perspective, and Todd seemed okay with it. Unfortunately, during our next game, Mr. Coach overheard Todd describe another player using a slur while on the bench, and after confirming it with a few of my other players, Mr. Coach decided to give him another lesson by specifically asking the referee to give Todd a red card, and so now he's been suspended for several games, and I'm not sure how to deal with Todd.
Oh my God. Okay, just kidding. Todd sucks.
Getting
Jesus
out
Christ,
there.
Todd.
I mean, that is oof.
Oh,
Like for-
okay. So this is not just a Todd issue. This is definitely like his parents' kind of issue. Like
Yeah.
Todd's parents raised an asshole in more ways than one. Like, jeez.
I will say, you know, it now after that update, you're like, oh, Todd sounds terrible too, and maybe the coach had a point. But still, you got to be a little. You can't fight fire with fire, Mr. Coach. You know, so
Yeah.
whew, well, another hard
That was a
decision.
rough one.
I know that one was really rough. Good job to the jury. We solved it, or so we did. And we'll see you next time for another case. Au revoir.
Bye.